It is time. Hello, everyone. Alongside Ryan Sir, I'm Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.
Tower Topics is a podcast by Kings Island fans for Kings Island fans, because that's who we are and that's who we care about. Don, it's time. What's up?
So, Ryan, remember a few episodes ago when I mentioned with the American Coaster Enthusiast Spring Conference how I wasn't going to buy a ticket because we thought it would sell out quick, and I didn't want to take a spot of someone who maybe had never been to an ACE conference or maybe never been to Kings Island before.
Yeah, that was a noble cause. Yes, I remember that.
Well, here we are about 2 weeks away from, tickets going on sale, and it still hasn't sold out yet. And they're about ready to put it on sale to just anybody, able to get a ticket. You don't have to be an ACE member.
Right.
So I went ahead and I purchased a ticket to the event.
Ooh, that's going to make somebody uncomfortable.
I don't care if it does or not. Kings Island has been a big part of my life since 1972, right?
Mm-hmm.
Love going there, love the rides. A lot of friends in the American Coaster Enthusiast. It's going to be a great event. And if tickets are still available,
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want to sit this one out.
It does seem like such a good event. And honestly, if you haven't been in the Spaghetti Bowl for Flight of Fear, then it's worth the price of admission for that, because that's pretty darn cool. Everything else is cool, but that's the one thing where it's like, God, I wish I was there.
Yeah, but for me too, it's other things. The Beast Tour. I've given hundreds of Beast Tours, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've not done one where I didn't have to worry about where everyone was going.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it. So that's an opportunity to just kind of go back to what I had done a long time ago, when I was an ACE member and did get to do some of those behind the scene tours before I started working there. Just be able to do that again, see a lot of, my ACE friends, the food on the menu. I mean, it looked great, but really got the juices flowing was earlier this week, Kings Island published on their social channels a video of the racer testing.
Yeah, I saw that.
And, I got excited about that and, went to see if tickets were still available. They were. And I thought, I'm not taking a spot of anybody right now, so why should I sit this one out? So I went ahead and bought a ticket. I'm really looking forward to it. But that's not all.
Oh.
Just because I'm just excited about it again, and, why shouldn't I go to Kings Island?
Yeah.
Why shouldn't I have fun? Why shouldn't I enjoy what I have enjoyed, for 50 years, right? So not only am I going to go to the ACE event, but, I'm 927 rides away from 13,000 on the racer. Why not ride the racer and have fun? I am 87 rides away from 4,000 on the Beast. Why not ride the Beast? Because I love it. I did 44 more rides on, it's now called Charlie Brown's Rushing River Log Ride. 44 rides away from 1,000 on that. Why not go and have fun? So it's going to be the summer of Don. I'll be there a lot.
The summer of Don. Now, that is not vain at all, because I'm sure that people are really going to be excited to see you there, because honestly, it has been odd not seeing you around the park since like late June,
Exactly. And, Ryan, you mentioned, someone might be uncomfortable with that. That's their problem, not mine, right? So I'm just going to go. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to do what I always used to do and just really enjoy everything that the park has to offer. The ACE event, being an ACE member, I'm going to enjoy, going up there and seeing the different events, trying the different foods, checking out the merchandise, riding all the rides. The sounds of the rides, I mean, just the racer, the chain lift of the racer, when you're in Coney Mall, the sound of the KI and Miami Valley Railroad, those things like the soundtrack of my summers, growing up. So, I want to be around that, and I'm going to be around that.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And so have you purchased a season pass? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Well, I'm going to get a season pass. Yes.
Okay.
Now, what I haven't decided is what park that's going to be from. So I am going to get the season pass with the all park passport. I'm going to
Right.
get the all park dining plan. I'm going to get the drink plan that's good for all the parks. Now, which park is going to get my money? That has yet to be decided.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't tried this yet, but apparently there's something with the conversion rate if you buy it out of Canada's Wonderland where it's like substantially cheaper.
I'm not going to do that now. I won't
You're not going to do that one.
I'm not going to do that one, no. But I will. We'll be buying that pass, and I'm going to use it a lot.
Mhm.
And just which park is going to get my money, I have not decided that yet. But I have season passes to a lot of parks. And one of the things when I was doing the racer in the 1980s, riding that over and over again, was having the time to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to be able to have time and be able to go and make sure you're getting good value out of that when you buy the pass with the all park passport. So I'm going to make sure that, in addition to going to Dollywood a lot, Holiday World a lot, Kennywood, Six Flags parks. I have a Six Flags pass that gets me into all the parks. I get the whatever park I decide to go to, but the all park passport can go to every Cedar Fair park. That's a great value, right? To be able to just go to all of them whenever you want.
Mhm.
I'm even looking at Camden Park. I was looking at that today. Should I add a Camden Park season pass? It's less than 3 hours from my house.
Yeah.
Love Camden Park. So why wouldn't I, right? So, like I said, Summer of Dawn. I'm going to be at parks all the time and just having a great time.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm excited that you decided to come around for that. Now, let me ask you this. Are you going to, and I don't know if you've even thought about this or not, but are you going to post on your social media ahead of time when you plan to be there so people can keep an eye out for you? Or
No, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'll post some different things, that maybe I see something in the merchandise, store at Coney or, the Emporium on International Street or something that I really
Mhm.
like. I'll do things like that, or, they'll know I'm there because I'll post some stuff like that. But the other part about it too, Ryan, is, in doing the Theme Parks by Don blog,
Mhm.
in order to write about the different parks, if you go to my blog, you'll see that I've written about Dollywood a lot. I've
Mhm.
written about Holiday World. I've written about Kennywood, these different parks. And to be able to really tell those park stories, you have to go there, right? So for
Right.
us doing this podcast, how can, I thought about this too, is even though I grew up at the park, know a lot about it, but how can I talk with you about Grand Carnival if I'm not there watching it with you? How can I talk about Winterfest if I'm
Sure.
not there experiencing the event with you? I can talk about the past events, but I can't talk about this year's events.
Mhm.
So in order to do those things, how can I talk about Camp Snoopy if I don't see it? Right. So
Yeah.
in order to do all those things, I have to be around it and you have to be involved. And I felt that that was going to be important for for us to really have a great show, moving forward is being able to talk about it in present terms instead of the past terms.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if we talk about just the past, we could potentially run out of content in a couple of years. But hey, I appreciate you taking that sacrifice of spending your summer at Kings Island, for the
And
sake of the,
well,
for the
I'm
good
going
of
to
the
be at a
show.
lot of other parks too, so it's not I'm just not going to be there. I mean, I'm going to go to a lot of parks, and it might be Monday I'm at Kings Island, Tuesday I'm at Holiday World, Wednesday I'm at Kentucky King. So it's going to be one of those kind of things. So I'm going to be at a different park,
Mhm.
multiple parks every week. I'm not gonna be Nick Gaskins and be there every day. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But I grew up with it. I enjoy it. I love it, and I wasn't gonna let anything take that away from me.
Yeah. Don't let other people ruin your fun has always been my thought with all the times that it's been like when I ran KIC, like if you and I had a falling out or whatever, I always just had that in mind of like, no matter what happens, nobody else is going to ruin
No,
what
and
you know.
our Tower Topics audience is the first to hear about this. So it has not been posted on my social channels or anything like that. So
Mhm.
we're giving the news to them first.
I'm sure they appreciate it. So you mentioned at the top, though, that you were planning on attending, the ACE Spring Conference. So let's go through what that entails
Super
really
excited
quickly.
about that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
just
that's going to be really cool. So the Spring Conference, and I've got aceonline.org pulled up. If you look at just running down the events that are here, it's parking lot opens at 6:30, check-ins between 7 and 8, ERT on Flight of Fear Orion and Kings Mills Antique Autos. That's a cool lineup. ERT on both sides of the racer. That's what sold your ticket. And Zephyr.
And Zephyr, correct.
And then you can join in the pass holder ERTs, as we mentioned before. Behind the scenes tour of Racer and Orion. Now, you've given that tour before, but I mean, I feel like I've been on that tour, but not since Orion was built. Like, I haven't really been to an event for several years. So I've been back there, but I haven't seen it, except for, when I was shooting fireworks with Rozzies, I was back in that area, but I hadn't done fireworks since 2020. So that's kind of a cool experience.
Yeah, looking forward to getting some, photos of Orion and the racer. The content that I'm going to be writing about on the blog, or whether it's my social channels. I just want to kind of beef up, my inventory of those photos a little bit, not relying on the old stock that I have. So yeah, it's going to be nice to have some fresh photos.
Yeah, so that's going to be followed by behind the scenes of the sign shop, which I know I've seen the chatter online. Those who have purchased tickets are very excited about the sign shop tour. That I just noticed that spans 2 hours. So I assume that they're going to be assigning
you can't put and I know when tickets go on sale to everybody, then it will reach that capacity number that they have, 750. You can't put that many people through the sign shop at one time. So they'll probably draw that out a little bit, but it's a great experience. You get to see a lot of really cool things in there.
Yeah. 3:30 to 4:30 Beast Tour. That goes without saying.
And like I said, to finally, to be able to just enjoy that and just take in all the sights and get some photos and not have to be, concerned where everybody's roaming. That's going to be really, really nice for me.
Yeah. There's going to be a silent auction, but they have not yet announced the time. Oh, Picnic Grove, a buffet dinner from 5 to 7. And then capping off the evening from 9 to 11, ERT on Diamondback, Mystic, Beast, Franklin's Flyers, and Snoopy's Space Buggies. And it just says snacks under that. So I assume they'll have snacks.
I'll be going back and forth between the Beast and Mystic that night.
Not Diamondback?
I'll get a couple rides in on that, but most of my time is going to be spent with Mystic Timbers and the Beast. Those two are just phenomenal night rides for me. So I'm going to make sure that I'm capitalizing on that.
That whole trio is phenomenal for night rides. Diamondback's an underrated night ride. It really is. Okay. Moving on to the next day, bright and early, 7 a.m. Parking lot opens, 8 to 10 ERT on Adventure Express, Banshee, and Soul Spin. Have you ridden Soul Spin?
I have not ridden Soul Spin.
Wow. Yeah, so there's actually a ride at Kings Island.
When I was there last summer, when that first opened, I was, and I'm still being bothered by a little bit, but I had a pinched nerve in my shoulder.
Yeah,
and
I remember
at the time, I was advised not to be riding any rides of any kind. So that was one of the reasons at that time that I held off on it. So looking forward to getting my first spin on Soul Spin.
Absolutely. Yeah. Soul Spin, I did. I've ridden that model, shall we say, twice. I rode the one at Kentucky Kingdom, and then I rode the one at Kings Island. My problem is always, I love those rides, but my problem has been there's a lot of people that they don't like the spinning motion. So it's hard to get somebody to ride with me. Yeah, that's always been my hang up with that. So after that, this is still the day 2, Saturday, May 18th. ERT on the Bat and Cargo Loco. And then you can join Season Pass ERT. 10:30 to 11 is first ride of the day on the Kings Island Miami Valley Railroad. You'll be there, I'm sure, for that.
Absolutely.
2 to 3 behind the scenes of Diamondback. 3:30 to 4:30 viewing the Brady Bunch Cincinnati Kids episode featuring Kings Island, as well as the Gravity Beer presentation. I'm assuming this will be in the Kings Island Theater.
Yeah, I'd imagine that's where they would do that.
Yep. And then the buffet is 5 to 7. 7:45 to 8:45 presentations from Mike Kuntz, Vice President, General Manager. Presentation from friend of the show, Dennis Spiegel. Hi, Dennis. He's the founder and CEO of International Theme Park Services and one of the best storytellers out there. And spoiler alert, because they put it on their schedule, they're going to present a plaque to Kings Island. Do they do a plaque for every ACE event, pretty much?
They typically do when they go to a park.
Okay. Because I've seen it done a few times just for the ACE events that I've done.
I've seen it where sometimes it's a plaque that is just dedicated to the park, and then other times it may be a ride has been designated,
right,
a landmark attraction. I don't know that there would be one at Kings Island that's going to get that landmark status yet. You have the Beast, you have the Racer that have that. None of the other ones have really been around long enough to have
Right.
earned that distinction.
Yeah. Well, because I can recall I was there when they put that big plaque next to the Beast, the one that's like a paragraph. And then for some event they gave like Jeffrey Siebert and Maureen Kaiser like some sort of plaque, like a thank you plaque thing. So it might just be something they do. Maybe they do it at every park, but 9 to 10:30 ERT on Dodge and Monster and Shake, Rattle, and Roll. That, well, I guess it coincides with ERT on Backlot, Orion, and the Beast. Because Orion and the Beast will take a lot of people, but Dodge and Monster and Shake, Rattle, and Roll are in very high capacity.
I'll be back at the Beast again.
Back at the Beast again. Sunday morning, and you're only going to be there because the Bengals aren't playing. May 19th. Park is 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. ERT on Great Pumpkin Coaster, which is the only opportunity for you to ride if you're over 60 inches.
I already have my credit.
I had that too from when I was a kid. Well, not that little, but they used to not enforce the having to ride with a kid is like a relatively recent thing. I remember riding that when I was like 12 or 13 years old. So Great Pumpkin is 8 to 9:30, 8 to 10 is Invertigo and Woodstock Express. I would love to get a bunch of rides on Invertigo. I love that ride.
It's a great time to do it, because the line, I mean, it doesn't have to be a long line for the wait time to be, 30 minutes, 40 minutes to an hour. So yeah, I'm going to take advantage of that.
Yeah. And so it's funny because with Invertigo, and this is totally going off on a tangent here, but Invertigo is so weird because a lot of people hate on it and they assume, like, oh, this is going to be the next ride to come out. They're going to rip out Invertigo. They're going to rip out Congo. They're going to rip out Timberwolf and put in whatever coaster. But for me, it's like if I had to sit down and they gave me 3 sheets of paper and it was one of these has to go, Adventure Express, the Bat, or Invertigo, it would take me like a month to decide, and it would not be an easy decision. Because
I'd hate to see either of those three go, any of those three go.
Yeah, but for me, it's just like I really enjoy the rides that we have, and they haven't really torn one out, at least in my history, that I was super disappointed about. Like, the Vortex, I didn't ride that much because it was just so rough in the last few years. Son of Beast, I never particularly enjoyed. Firehawk was kind of like, if you've done it, you've done it, but like all these old school, like when they were pumping stuff in the 90s, man, that's the stuff that I love. Gosh, where were we? Oh yeah, Ace Spring Conference. That's what we were talking about before I interrupted myself. 8:30 to 10 on ERT on Diamondback, 9 to 10 ERT on Woodstock's Air Rail, Boo Blasters on Boo Hill with the lights on. That'll be interesting. And Delirium. Conference attendees are welcome to join the pass holder ERT, as mentioned before. 9:45 to 10, group photo at the Beast. First ride of the day at the Beast, immediately following, I presume. 10:45 to 11:30 is behind the scenes of Banshee, which is in Adventure Express, which is part 1. So you're going in on that side. So on the, I guess, east side of the park, you're going in. And then noon to 12:45 is behind the scenes of, it's part 2, and it's Banshee and the Bat. So that would be going in on the west side of the park. 1 to 2:15, lights on tour of Hotel St. Michel, which is a fantastic haunted house. So that's kind of cool. 3:30 to 4:15 is behind the scenes of Flight of Fear inside the Spaghetti Bowl, which is awesome. I mentioned that's kind of one of the more exciting things. And then the park closes at 7. So awesome.
Yeah. A lot of things going on during the 3 days. You're going to keep moving to different activities. It's going to be great to see a lot of my Ace friends at the event, and just really looking forward to it.
Which I know that the thing you're looking forward to most is making the connections and seeing the people. But as far as the things on the itinerary we just listed, what's the thing you're most excited about?
The Beast Tour, just to be able to do it as a guest again.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, do you have any final thoughts, Don? This is, I did not know this until we recorded. You're like, just hit record and I'll tell you.
I'm back.
Hey, welcome back, Don. All right. Yeah. What's the first listener question?
Comes from the real Alex Stigl. Says, I've seen the park. They had done helicopter rides during the Paramount years. Any chance Cedar Fair or the new Emerged company would bring that back? I think it would be a solid upcharge attraction that could be a good return on the investment. Now, Ryan, did you do that? The
No.
helicopter rides when they had it before?
No, the minimum price was about $40, which at the time was a ton of money, especially when you were like 13 years old. Did you?
I did not.
I wish I did.
I was there to ride rides, and watch the shows and eat the food, and just really had no interest in going up in a helicopter and
Really?
taking an aerial view of the. No, I just didn't, to take an aerial view of the park or anything. I just wanted to have fun at the park, so that never really crossed my mind to do that. There was a lot of times that, I'd walk by where it was, and rarely did I see it go up. So not
No.
that many people were doing it. So I would imagine that if it was profitable, it was making money for the park, they would have kept that around. So I would say that we won't see that return.
Yes, I would say that there is a very small non-zero numeric possibility of that returning, because if that was a good return on investment, it would have lasted more than like a year. And plus, even more so now than ever, with how expensive things are, what would they have to charge to justify the fuel and stuff? When they do the helicopter flights in Orlando, it's like they advertise these like rock bottom prices, like $60 per person, but it's like a minimum of 2 or a minimum of 4. That's the kind of situation they would be in. Plus, I don't remember this bothering me when I was a kid, but probably as an adult, it probably would, where it's like you're of the helicopter taking off every once in a while, and it like kind of killed the ambience of the park. I would say, I'm not going to say no, but don't hold your breath. I would find that incredibly unlikely. With that being said, if they had helicopter tours, let's say like some like meaningful amount of time, a half hour or so, to fly around the park or maybe fly around, the northern Cincinnati suburbs, even if it was like $100, I'd probably do that like once a year. I think that would be interesting. But I think a lot of people thought the way that you did, Don, in terms of, I'm here to ride rides. I'm not going to pay extra to fly in a helicopter.
Right. Yeah, I just wasn't going to do it.
Yeah. Well, Real Alex Stiegel, thank you for the question. So, second listener question. This is from Messy Filming. Wow. My question is, why are they, as in the Kings Island team, so soft to block someone for asking if Diamondback's paint job will get rid of the rattle? Literally the joke PR group in the amusement park industry. Well, Missy Filming, I'll hand this over to Don. So you have firsthand experience with this exact account that they're talking about. So I guess they tweeted or put in Facebook like, oh, is the new paint job going to get rid of the rattle? And then they booted them for it. What are your thoughts on that?
You don't want to just block people to block people. And I know that that's happened, both on the park channel and, the people that run their channels have been known to just block people because of their name. Well, let's look at the question. Okay. First of all, you deal with a lot when you're on that side of the fence.
Right.
There's a lot of keyboard warriors out there, and, sometimes people post stuff just to post stuff. I think the nature of that one, really, that's the question that you wanted to submit is the rattle, something like that. So I think maybe they took it as being sarcastic or something, or just, if that's how they're going to join the conversation, we don't need that. So I can get why that might have been something that, was frowned upon a little bit. But just to block somebody, sometimes I think, a little trigger happy with that one. Maybe if that was the only thing, we don't know what your track record there was of posting up to that point. So maybe they'd had enough, or maybe it was your first time. We don't know. But if that was the only thing that you posted, I wouldn't have done that just to block them for asking about the rattle thing. But still, the nature of the question, I can see, depending on what was going on, what else was happening, the other kind of things, feedback they were seeing that day. Maybe they were just not in the right mood and just said, not dealing with that block.
Yeah, I mean, my main question, if you just tweeted that at them, and they blocked you, like, okay, that's a little thin-skinned. But we know people there that will do that, My question for you, and you don't have to answer this, is did you tweet this once, or did you ask a bunch of like obnoxious questions and they were like, yeah, I'm not dealing with this? Because I think your question is innocent enough. I would have ignored it if I was in that position rather than like taking action on it. Because the rattle, maybe they didn't want to drive negative attention. They didn't, because one person can steer an entire conversation. And as somebody that ran KIC for over a decade, I can tell you when someone says, oh, they opened this new restaurant, it's so good. And the next person's like, yeah, try the carrot cake, it's amazing. And the next person's like, yeah, try the short ribs, they're so good, best I've ever had. The next person's like, my portions were too small. And then the conversation goes downhill from there. Like that's one thing that's very difficult.
It's a really, really difficult job.
Yeah.
When you are managing those channels.
Yeah.
For Park, or really any brand. I mean, it's really hard, and it does go south in a hurry if you let that happen. So, maybe just depending on, we don't know. Like I said, we don't know what the track record was, what are the things you might have said, or what the conversation was like that day on the channel. So it's really difficult to say, but if that was all you did, yeah, that didn't warrant being blocked.
So Don, do you think that the new paint job took care of that rattle in Diamondback? That's the real question at hand.
That's a whole other, we could do a whole episode about the Diamondback rattle. I never understood why that became such a hot button for people. It really has nothing to do with the ride. I mean, yeah,
it doesn't. But I will tell you this though. I was so the Diamondback rattle I only noticed in one spot, and I honestly think it's the scoops for the splashdown rattling back and forth, because that's what makes that train relatively unique compared to every other.
Exactly. That's what I've been told too. That was in part the reason why you have that.
Yeah, but I will say that those that on some days Banshee is rather concerning with the rattle, with how it's just blatantly shaky. And I was even talking to a coworker, and they said, "Oh yeah," and they were talking up Kings Island. They're like, "I love," because they found out I have this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We love this ride. We love this ride, but man, my kid rode Banshee, and the thing shook so hard that they just didn't want to ride anymore. And it's like, what causes that? Because I don't think it's rough personally. I think it's plenty smooth, but it's definitely not as smooth as other B&Ms. And I just don't know why. I just don't know what I don't know. Should ask Ryan, the ride mechanic.
We'll have him back on at some point, and we'll be able to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I'm Ryan Sir, along with Don Helbig, and this is Tower Topics.